What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, first off, my name is Dave, and today we're going to be covering some Lego investing. On this channel, I also cover some Bricklink store updates and general collectible investment, but we're not going through that today. Today is going to be about Lego investing, but it's going to be a little different in that I'm going to be talking a little bit about my boxing strategy and what I found at Home Depot, actually, that may help you package up some of your sets. What I have, and I'll kind of show you here, I purchased some boxes. I've got some more upstairs, and I measured everything out based on some very common set sizes. So I figured what I would do is I would go over the sizes of some different boxes with you, as well as which ones I identified and purchased from Home Depot. And we're going to go ahead and see how many of certain sets can fit inside each of those boxes. Before we get into packaging up this gigantic mess that I have behind me, I do want to ask that you go ahead, click on that like button below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave me a comment if you have found other box sizes that you use to help pack your sets for storage, not shipment. Let's get into this. Okay, so before we go actually packing boxes, I did want to share with you the little diagram and measurements that I took of the different sets that we have here. And so for those familiar with some of the Star Wars line, that's what I use for reference because I happen to have a lot of those sitting around. Hint, hint, Star Wars does pretty well as an investment series. And so here what we have is the armored assault tank. We've got about 7.5 inches high, 14 inches wide. And then a lot of these sets that are this box size range anywhere somewhere between 2 to 3 inches deep. And you'll see that as a very common theme across many of these sets. So that's the one. Next up we have the Clone Trooper Battle Pack, kind of that smaller standard box size that a lot of sets come in. And it measures 10.5 wide, 7.5 tall, again, 2 to 3 inches deep. We've got the larger box sizes for things like, I think, the Mandalorian Star Cruiser, as well as the X-Wing. These things are about 10.5 inches tall, 15 inches wide. We've got the Disney Storybook size. There's also some Ninjago sets that fall into this category. These are 7.5 inches tall by 8 inches wide. We have a Duel on Mandalore. These are kind of like the multi-pack micro fighter size or the different duel sets that they've been coming out with. These are 5.5 inches tall by 10.5 inches wide. We also have the brand new Snow Trooper Battle Pack. I think it's what it's called. There is also a Batman, I'm going to call it a Battle Pack as well, I suppose, similar sized. 5.5 inches tall, 7.5 inches wide. That's kind of the size of those. And then we've got these more squared boxes, which are like Boba Fett's Starfighter, or whatever they want to call it now, the Slave One. 10.5 inches tall, 11 inches wide. There are other sets, but these are the ones that I commonly have a more challenging time finding boxes for. So next what I did is I went on and I found Home Depot had certain box sizes. So we've got this 17 by 11 by 11. 15 by 16 by 24, 15 by 16 by 21, and then the same thing by 27. Now, one thing that you may not notice is that the standard box sizes, like the Clone Trooper Battle Packs, they happen to be sized perfectly to have two of these take up the exact same amount of space as one of these larger boxes. So I'll go ahead and show you that. And basically what I did is I went through and identified if we had some things in here like this 21, I could put two of these wide with the 15 inches tall. And so I did pick up some of these 15 by 16 by 21s. And then the 17 by 11 by 11. So those ones are going to be really handy for sets like this, where you can go two wide at about 11 inches, 10.5 tall, and then you can stack them 17 inches deep. And then same thing here, you just kind of double these ones up. And it also allows you to put these in here at 11 by 11. Basically, you get 17 inches, which should be anywhere between 8 and maybe 6 sets, depending on how deep they actually are. So let's go ahead and I'll show you this and talk just a little bit about maybe some different packaging strategies. And then we're going to pack one of these boxes full to see what it looks like. So before we start packing it, I did want to show, here are the Clone Trooper battle packs, and here is the Mandalorian Starfighter. And what you can see is that when we turn these two sideways, they happen to be the exact width of one of these, as well as the exact height. Which means if I've got a box that I can stack these in like this, I can choose either certain numbers of these or twice as many of these. Even if we have it up on its end inside of a box because of the height, we can always stack these boxes too tall like this and keep coming down the length. So just to show you real quick, the boxes that I did end up going with are these Home Depot heavy-duty medium boxes. And these ones in particular are 21 inches wide, 15 inches deep, and 16 inches tall, which there's some key things there because these are all 15 inches long. And so I can stack those lengthwise like that or lay them down the other way if I choose. I went heavy-duty one, which you can see is kind of this double corrugated box because of the durability of it. Specifically, it's important for shipping. I don't know it's going to be as important for storage. However, I think it will allow me to more easily stack these on top of each other without seeing my boxes start to crush. It's also going to be critical that because these are all going to be the same size relative to each other, you can make a nice tall stack where all of the weight is evenly distributed across the corners. That's going to help for long-term storage as well. So to get the maximum amount of space out of one of these boxes, you can see that I turned the long sets on their side, which pulled them up, and instead of packaging them front to back, it would have left a gap on one of the sides, and because this is 21 inches long, that is exactly two 10.5-inch boxes, which allows us to take the larger sets and go this way. You can see I did add in some other sets here for reference. Minecraft, Disney, Lego Ideas, Technic. These are all the same size boxes. It is a very common size. In addition, as I said, because the height of the Stormtrooper battle packs are exactly half of one of these larger boxes, you could do a stack like this, which allows you to put two of these wide. So I could either have 2 rows or columns, whatever you want to call it, of the larger set, or I could end up doing 2 columns of a 2 tall of the smaller set. And again, there are so many of these. This is the most common box size that I tend to get my hands on. So finding good solutions for those is critical. But also for these larger ones. The larger ones are the ones that I don't typically have boxes around here that are large enough to store these in any kind of a decent quantity. And as you can see, I could easily get at least 10 of these in here, keeping in mind that sometimes the depth of these do change. So you may be able to go all the way up to 6, or maybe as little as 5, I suppose. There's still enough room in there, which means that you're somewhere between 10 and 12 total boxes. You would then double that up if you had these. So you're talking somewhere between 20 to 24 of these. And again, that is the heavy-duty medium box. All right, so I wanted to share another configuration inside of this box. And it is with the storybook size set. So you can see that I do have some storybooks or Ninjagos. There are probably a few other sets that are the similar box size. But what you can do is, again, I think these things, if I recall, are around like 7.5 inches tall, or no, 5.5 inches tall, 7.5 wide, something like that. You saw the sheet, people. And so you can't get 3 of them lengthwise, but you can get 2 of them. And then what you can do is you can turn the boxes at the end. And it happens to be that because it's 15 inches wide, which means 7.5 inches tall must be, that allows you to utilize the full width of the box to end up having 2 rows coming down, 2 rows coming this way. And if you can see there, you can just get a second stack, which means you could theoretically, what do we got here? About 5 of these, so 5, 10, that's 20. maybe another 6 on the bottom. So you may be able to get around 32 of these inside of that same medium box. Next configuration that I wanted to show you are these longer boxes, like I mentioned, kind of like the armored assault tank. And you can see that they fit 2 wide, and we can run them down the entire length here. So this one was a little easier to fill up. I've got a lot of these, which is one of the main reasons I needed to get some boxes. You can see we've got our armored assault tank. We got a couple Creator fish tanks, another Star Wars set. We've got larger of the helmet series, some of the long Minecraft sets like the Iron Golem set, Bunny Ranch. I'm trying to remember. Anyway, whatever. You get the point. We got some droids down there, and we have a beautifully packaged box. We do still have a gap here. Now, some people would say you might be able to get away with something like this. Now, my problem is, by the time you close this, what's going to be carrying the weight of your box, right? When you stack another box here, if it's perfectly aligned, theoretically it's going to be the corners. But if it's not, you're going to basically be crunching the top of this box. And that just doesn't seem like the best way to store them for me. I think you're going to maybe get a few more sets in there. However, you're going to end up with some more damaged sets as an outcome from that. I don't think it's probably worth it. I'm not planning on stacking anything on top of those. I love the way that this box is packed. Looking forward to getting some more like that. All right, so there's still at least 2 box sizes that we kind of went over that we haven't talked about related to this heavy-duty medium Home Depot box. And that is the Boba Fett Starship, Slave One, and the Duel on Mandalore. Now, you can see that they certainly fit within this box. Now, what you're going to end up with is a lot of room up on the top that you could probably get away with. It looks like height-wise, you could get away with, and I would be okay with that because it's still far enough down underneath the lip of the box to where you could get away with stacking these this way. And doing this, you can see you can get 2 of these lengthwise, which I guess makes sense. These are 10.5-inch wide boxes, which means you could probably do the same thing with these ones. I believe you might have to stack them the other way. So you can see there, we don't have enough room. If I did stack them this way, you're going to get enough room. However, they're going to be a little taller, and then you can't do the second row on it. So I think your best bet, if you're using this size box, is to take these and run them the length or depth or whatever you want to call it of the box. Stack these on top of it. But you do have to keep in mind, you have a space down here not filled, that you're going to have to do something like this, which would work. You could probably get 2 there. It may not efficiently use everything in the box, but this is why I have the other one. Let me show you the other size box. Okay, next and last of the boxes, at least that I got. I'm assuming that there is also a heavy-duty large box, but I didn't see any of them in stock at my store, and I have no idea how large that would be. However, the heavy-duty small box, which happens to measure 17 inches wide, 11 inches tall, and 11 inches deep, is the perfect candidate for these last series of remaining sets. You can see we've got our Boba Fett Starfighter, as well as the Minecraft Dungeon sets and Darth Vader's Chamber. And it happens to be that these smaller Duel on Mandalore style sets, exactly half the size, lengthwise at least, of one of those sets, which means you get a perfect fit. We still have room underneath the rim, and you can stack these. So assuming that you want to maximize the space inside of each box, you might get into less efficient things to where, look, if you had 6 or 7 of these Boba Fett, they might not fit in here perfectly, and so you might be better off only putting 5 or 6 of them in and then throwing a couple Duel on Mandalores to make a little bit more use of the space that you have. However, it will segment your long-term storage items a little bit more, which just means you may have to open more boxes or at least be conscious about what's in them. So the other thing I recommend doing is when you do get them all packaged up, be sure to label what's in your boxes. I keep an inventory log of everything that's in what I classify as my long-term storage, or my box shelves, apparently, which is really just this large wall of boxes in the back of the room. I'm sure you've seen it. But on each box, I do make a point to also label exactly what's in there. So in this particular box, I know that I've got 8 of the 43114. And off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you exactly what that is. Maybe it's a Disney set. Starts with a 4. Again, I don't know. Regardless, I think it's smart to do that. That way, when you're looking for something, you can always go and have an easier time knowing where to pull it from your shelf. So now that we've gone over the 2 different Home Depot boxes that I have and the different configurations that you can use, I'm really excited about the way these things stack inside these boxes. I think it's going to be more efficient use of my space, and I'm going to love the way it's going to stack. As you can see in the back, it is a mix-matched version of boxes, different shapes, different sizes, which means some of those are probably getting a little bit more squished than I would care for. Hopefully, the integrity of the sets inside is still going to be great. However, I may entirely move over to these Home Depot box solutions once I get this stuff set up. And that's what's ahead of me for the rest of the day. Now I get to take this giant mess of sets that need to be put away and get them all boxed up, nice and neat, organized, labeled, enter in my inventory management system, and hopefully stacked in a way that they look nice and hold their box integrity. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's Lego investment, but again, like I said, it is a little bit different. Hopefully you found this stuff useful, though. Let me know in the comments below if you've got any other box shapes and sizes that you have a challenge storing, or if you found some boxes that you think work maybe even better than these, or maybe the non-heavy duty ones. Let me know the quality of those, and I would love to hear from you. If anything else crosses your mind, leave that in the comment section below as well. I love to try and respond to every comment that I get, so please don't hesitate. I love to engage all of my audience out there. I have a lot of packing to do, so we will see you in the next video. Bye.